All right, let's jump right into a debate that a lot of folks in the Linux world are talking about. We're putting the super friendly, super reliable Linux Mint up against the new kid on the block that's obsessed with speed, Catchy OS. This is a real clash of titans with totally different ideas about what an operating system should be.
When you boil it all down, it really comes to one simple question. What do you care about most? Are you looking for something that is rock solid, something you can set up and just completely forget about? Or are you the kind of person who wants to squeeze every last drop of performance out of your machine? That choice right there is at the very heart of this showdown.
Okay, so let's meet our contenders. In one corner, you've got Linux Mint. I like to call it the reliable workhorse. It's built on a foundation that's been tested for years, so it's incredibly stable and predictable. And in the other corner, we have Catchy OS, which is just a performance beast. It's based on Arch Linux and has been engineered from the ground up for one thing and one thing only: raw speed.
So first things first, what's it actually like to get one of these up and running? Let's talk about that first impression, from the moment you start the installation to your first day using it.
Linux Mint is famous for this, right? The whole "it just works" philosophy. The installer is an absolute dream, especially if you're coming over from Windows. It holds your hand through every single step. And once you're in, everything's already there. Your Wi-Fi, media codecs, you name it, it's all ready to go, no fuss at all. Plus, the community is huge, so help is always easy to find. It's designed to be the smoothest possible on-ramp to the world of Linux.
Catchy OS, on the other hand, gives you the keys to the car right from the beginning. Now, its installer is also really friendly and graphical, but it immediately asks you to make some choices. Which desktop do you want? Do you want the standard kernel or one of the super optimized ones? It's not trying to confuse you, it's trusting you to tune your system just the way you like it right from the get-go.
I saw this quote and it hits the nail on the head. YouTuber Linux Beanie put it perfectly. Mint is like your cozy, familiar home. It's comfortable. You know where everything is. Kali OS? That's the brand new smart apartment. It's sleek, it's incredibly efficient, and every little thing is under your control.
All right, now for the part I know a lot of you have been waiting for. Let's talk performance. This is where the difference between these two distros goes from being a feeling to something you can actually measure.
So what's the secret sauce here? How does Catchy OS get all this speed? Well, it's a bunch of things. It starts with that lightweight Arch Linux base. Then it adds a custom kernel with something called the Bohr scheduler, which is specifically designed to make things like gaming feel more responsive. But the real kicker, the big deal, is that it builds its software specifically for modern CPUs, using all these advanced compiler tricks that most other distros just don't bother with. It gives it a massive head start. Let's see what that means in a real-world game. In a demanding title like Cyberpunk 2077, Catchy OS pulls ahead with an average of 66 frames per second, while Mint is at 63. Now, 3 frames might not sound like a world of difference, but it shows you there's a real, consistent performance edge there. But here's where things get really interesting. Average frame rates are one thing, but smoothness, that's all about the 1% lows. That's the performance you get in the middle of a huge explosion or a chaotic firefight. And look at this difference. In Red Dead Redemption 2, Catchy OS holds a solid 106 FPS on its worst moments, while Mint drops down to 89. That is absolutely a difference you can feel. So when you average this out across a bunch of different games, you see this pattern again and again. On those crucial 1% lows where it matters most, Mint can fall behind Catchy OS by around 17%. For anyone who takes their gaming seriously, that is a huge deal. Okay, but hold on. All that speed, it's got to come with a catch, right? I mean, what's the trade-off here? Can you really live on the bleeding edge without getting cut once in a while? Let's talk stability. And yeah, it all comes down to 2 totally different ways of handling updates. Linux Mint uses what's called a long-term support, or LTS, model. Think of it as slow and steady wins the race. Updates are tested like crazy before they ever get to you. Catchy OS, on the other hand, is a rolling release. That means you get the latest software, the newest drivers, the very second they're ready. And that rolling model, well, it has a bit of a reputation. I love this quote from a Reddit user, Sue Alphonse, who says, "Sometimes a rolling release means you're gonna have let's grab a coffee and try to fix this days." It kind of perfectly captures the potential risk of always having the newest stuff. But, and this is a big but, Catchy OS has a really, really smart answer for this. By default, it uses a modern file system that automatically takes a snapshot, like a photograph of your entire system right before an update. So if anything goes wrong, if an update breaks something,
No problem. You literally click a button and roll your computer back in time to the moment before the update. It's an incredible safety net. Mint, on the other hand, well, it doesn't really need a time machine. Its whole promise is to be boringly reliable. Updates are quiet, they're safe, and they're designed to never, ever cause a problem. For anyone who just needs their computer to work every single day, no questions asked, that's Mint's killer feature. So after all that, the big question remains, which one is for you? And notice I said your perfect match. Because this isn't really about which distro is the best overall, but which one is the best fit for you and what you need.
Let's just lay it all out here. If you are new to Linux, maybe you're coming over from Windows, and you just want an experience that is completely stress-free, man, Linux Mint is your champion. The learning curve is basically zero. But if you're a gamer, a developer, or just an enthusiast who loves to tinker and chase that top-tier performance, Catchy OS is basically built for you. The learning curve is a little higher, sure, but the payoff in speed is undeniable.
And that brings us right back to our analogy from the beginning, doesn't it? The choice is really yours. Are you looking for the stability and comfort of that cozy, reliable home where everything just works? Or are you ready to move into that fast, modern, and super efficient smart apartment where you're in total control?